around 2000. So we've got experts in the corners. This is a best-of-7 match. Yang Haeun will start off serving a little bit more toward the middle. Love all. On 1 foot, Liu Shiwen starting off with an off balance, but still awkward spinny topspin shot there. That serve you just saw, the shovel serve, coming with some inside out spin from Yang Haeun, was quite effective yesterday in getting through Ju Yuling. But so far, Liu Shiwen has been very focused on reading it. I think this is part of being part of a solid program. One of your teammates, who's one of the big 4 in the world, gets beaten and has a lot of trouble receiving a serve. You stay up the night before studying, and coaches are with you to make sure you understand what's on the serve. And surprisingly, Yang Haeun wins this point when it gets into the fast pace. Yang Haeun very solid in changing the pace.
2-1.
Softer, spinny shots, but as soon as Liu Shiwen brings the heat, it comes right back even hotter. It's a strong receive. The follow-up attack there from Yang Haeun, a bit of trouble. Liu Shiwen even on the run, keeping the pressure on. So yesterday for Yang Haeun, it was a slow start in her match against Ju Yuling. Looked like it was going to be one-way traffic. Right now, Yang Haeun making a case for herself. The crowd loves it after all that work. Yang Haeun even comes right back into the table. A few forehands. Knows to just come back to the table quickly to keep the pressure on. Now Liu Shiwen has a very difficult middle to find, one of the quickest transitions in the women's game. Yang Haeun might play in combination, try to go out wide to the forehand. And she does. It's the over the table flip out wide to the forehand. As far as advantages of height in table tennis, you've got the reach, you've strength on both sides, both wings. Just a bigger middle to cover, which is why Yang Haeun will use the backhand more. It's a shorter stroke, costs her less time.
3-5.
And this is also typical in the women's game, not having to back off the table as much, staying close, shorter strokes, backhand to backhand rallies. Liu Shiwen trying to stay loose out there, stretch it out. Has been here since this morning, working, warming up.
4-5.
Yang Haeun earning the shallow ball. It's going to be tougher for Liu Shiwen to react, and she leaves it closer to the net. But it's the spin variation of Yang Haeun that's earning these higher balls, different depths on the table.
6-4.
Heavy push from Liu Shiwen to save the point. This is another thing that Liu Shiwen is very strong at, taking the ball off the bounce and creating wide angles. The fact that Liu Shiwen can adjust to that side spin, the kick surprised me just sitting here watching. The ball jumps out wide to the forehand. See in the replay right there how much the ball changed on its bounce. Just a little bit of side spin with the wrist of Yang Haeun in the blocking game. And even with the little help from the net, not enough to phase Liu Shiwen. Like a rock right now, Liu Shiwen just not cracking. I guess it depends on the type of rock. Some rocks crack, but not Liu Shiwen. There's a backhand to finish a point. No messing around there. The spin shots, waiting for the opportunity, and again, taking it early off the bounce when the opportunity comes up. Professionals recognize when the ball's going to bounce shallow on the table. Know to take advantage of that opportunity. It might not come up again anytime soon.
9-6.
Now while Young Haeun starts to make her way back in, just a note, she's played 7 times against Liu Shiwen on the World Tour, and all 7 of those Liu Shiwen has won. Not only that, Liu Shiwen hasn't lost a single game to Young Haeun. Not a game.
6-10.
Inside out spin on the shovel serve from Liu Shiwen, and it's 4 game points. And as always, the contact on the serve, very subtle. A lot of work, and the crowd cheering for an outstanding point regardless of the winner. Of course, they're rooting for Liu Shiwen. Patriotic fans here, of course. Always good to see your hometown favorites move on. Game 1 goes 11-7 to Liu Shiwen. We'll be back for game 2 after this short break.
Game.
And the players are back for game 2. Liu Shiwen at the top of the screen, leading 1-0 over Korea's Young Haeun. So far, the trend continues. Liu Shiwen has not lost a game in her life on the World Tour to Young Haeun.
1-love.
Liu Shiwen already taking 1 Super Series in 2016, fighting here to take her 2nd. She won Qatar, the Qatar Open 2016, Poland in 2015, along with the Women's World Cup. And it's no wonder why with shots like this, one after another, how quickly she recovers from these forehand strokes. Turning the corner, comes back to the middle. This is where all the drills pay off. Practice what you play, practice match situations, and practice hard. Can't practice having thousands of screaming fans around. But everything else, if you can create a very similar situation to what it's like playing a match, it's going to feel less foreign to you. You'll be able to stay loose when it's match time. A lot of players in the beginning suffer from performance anxiety. And this is actually true of some of the top Chinese players who are outside of the Big Four. If you're outside of the Big Four, it's just a different experience playing on the big stage in front of the screaming fans than maybe in the Chinese Super League or, of course, training camps. Being a practice partner, but Liu Shiwen, no stranger to the international scene or the main stage.
Love.
You can see that Young Haeun's having some trouble predicting where Liu Shiwen is going to hit the ball. It's the lukewarm push, the service receive that's a little trouble. When Young Haeun has to play the blocking game at such a reach, it's going to be uncomfortable.
Love 6.
With 6 straight points, there's no question that Young Haeun has to change something. Now in the driver's seat with the serve, she might be able to set up the point a bit better.
Love 7.
She gets the 3rd ball attack and keeps it spinny. Liu Shiwen, though, counters off the top of the net here. This time the net comes back, but helps out Young Haeun for her 1st point this game. Now that she's on the receive, I think Young Haeun, we don't see too many chiquitas, too many banana flips from the forehand side. But I think anything she can do to get aggressive on the receive
7-1.
is going to get her a better start to the point. The pushing game has not been threatening enough, unless it's a deep push or very heavy spin or spin variation out here anyway.
8-1.
But Liu Shiwen is just way too comfortable with the third ball she's getting right now for young Haeun to have a real shot at this game.
1-9.
Well, there was something different. Side swiping receive. Cross the ball and into the body, deep on the table. Now that's mixing it up. Right at the baseline, a long topspin serve into the body. Again, this is why hours of serving practice all the time, on a weekly basis.
10-2.
For many of these players, you've got excessive amounts of service practice on a daily basis in training to make sure that the placement is just perfect. 8 game points for Liu Shiwen.
11-2.
But no dice, the shot goes long, and a quick, painless game 2 after an 11-7 victory in game 1. More dominant performance from Liu Shiwen, and we'll be back for game 3 right after this. And as the players come back for game 3, young Haeun and Liu Shiwen testing the floor to make sure there's no slippage. Proper grip everywhere, went right to the shine. This is definitely what you want to do.
Third game, young to serve, love all. Love
Heavy push from
1.
Liu Shiwen to take the first point.
One all.
Now, while Liu Shiwen is #1 in the world, one of the reasons you didn't see her playing in singles at the Olympics, I guess partially because Li Xiaoxia won at the Olympic qualification tournament. But there are also questions about how she handles pressure. At the Olympics, it's all about how you handle pressure and playing against foreigners. Chinese national team, not too many excuses to lose a match, but losing a match to a foreigner is inexcusable.
1-3.
We'll talk about that more later. Zhu Yuling has been knocked out of the tournament by young Haeun. At the top of the screen in the Korean Air shirt.
Two, 3.
Similar score to game 1.
Three all.
We're seeing much crisper shots. Young Haeun getting in with the topspin backhands. Her placement is solid, right to the middle. Now, as quick as Liu Shiwen is, if the loops are deep on the table and to the middle, it'll at least buy young Haeun a little bit more time and get her a little bit more predictability for where the shot's coming back. Less options for Liu Shiwen.
4-3. Let 4-3.
Over the table, the short game of Liu Shiwen is quite strong. We've seen young Haeun with some forehand flips, successful in this match so far. He hasn't had too many opportunities to come in for him.
3-6.
So for young Haeun to miss that shot really speaks, say, highly of the push that comes in The variation from Liu Shiwen, again, that was to the length of the table, so it was the highest percentage loop for Young Haeun.
7-3.
And the big shots start coming out. The forehand to forehand counter loop rally. Young Haeun quickly making her move out to the forehand. But still, Liu Shiwen very comfortable on the run, counter looping. Clever idea from Young Haeun. Looked like a little bit of indecision though from the middle. Final shot sees Liu Shiwen out of the periphery, starting to move toward the forehand side and tries to hit it behind her momentum. Just tries to mislead with the upper body. At the second towel break of the game, neither player going to the towel. It's always an interesting sign of real clear focus. The rallies just keep getting better. Young Haeun's really hanging in there for some shots, but she's messing with the best. And finally, deep to the corner again. Liu Shiwen picks her timing.
10-4.
And sees the opportunity deep to the forehand. Look at this, 6 game points for Liu Shiwen to step into a 3-0 lead. This could be a little bit of history repeating out here. Still keeping the flawless, undefeated record, not dropping a game to Young Haeun. Just missing the back of the table, even recovering a net ball in there, Liu Shiwen. More expression than we've seen from Liu Shiwen in a while. While she is a relatively quiet player, considering her celebrity status, she does have a solid sense of humor when you get to know her.
6-10.
But Young Haeun taking the ball early off the bounce, touches it softly to keep it low to the net. Right down the middle.
7-10.
Seriously, this is Atlantis. Buried city under the sea, Liu Shiwen's middle. But you saw it right there from Young Haeun. I think the pace had a lot to do with that as well. It gave Liu Shiwen a chance to second guess her decision. And finally, the serve that haunted Ju Yuling. 4 straight points for Young Haeun. No timeout called by Young Sen. I think he doesn't feel that there's any true danger yet for Liu Shiwen. She would have to lose 2 more points and then 2 more to have a clear 2-point advantage by Young Haeun. Liu Shiwen now in control with the serves.
Net 10-8.
Oh, top of the net for Liu Shiwen in the loop. Throws the timing of Young Haeun's backhand, but an escape 11 points to 8. And a valiant effort in game 3 from Young Haeun, but it's gonna have to happen here in game 4 if the young Korean player wants to stay alive in this match and in this tournament. Game 4 just after this.
Game. Liu to serve. Love all.
Back for game 4, Liu Shiwen in the lead 3-0 over Young Haeun.
Love 1.
Young Haeun scored several points from down 4-10 Had 4 of the last 5 points in game 3 and continues so far in her streak. Now the real question is, what has changed for young Haeun to be so competitive, to come back? It's going to be trouble from off the table. For me, young Haeun has just been a bit more, I'd say, taking the initiative. She's been a bit more positive in the first few shots of the rally. The very first shot she has in every rally has to be good enough.
3-1.
If she softens up for a moment, you'll see what happens. Liu Shiwen from the middle of the table turns, but it's that backhand that really sets it up, bending away to the forehand, forcing young Haeun off the table. And you give Liu Shiwen that much time, she just has too much creative control and freedom. Too tough to predict.
4-1.
And now the heavy underspin pendulum serve. Wouldn't be surprised to see a timeout if Liu Shiwen takes another point. But down the middle, young Haeun again taking the point. No timeout will be used just yet out here. Again, young Haeun being coached by her mother. Has been the national team coach in Korea. Former player as well, Kim In-soon. Wikipedia that.
2-5.
I think this is the right idea for young Haeun. If she can't get an aggressive shot in, she's going to keep it as spinny as possible, using that shovel serve with the inside-out spin to get the third ball attack. She did move to the backhand yesterday against Ju Yuling to mix up the serves a bit.
7-2.
Just amazing how quick off the bounce Liu Shiwen takes the ball. Watch one more time, soft flip. She doesn't even finish the stroke with the wrist. It's like she stops after the point of contact, the Bruce Lee punch. Young Haeun having a similar stroke with the backhand, generating a lot of pace. Again, the agility in the wrist not tightening up. This keeps so much spin on the ball. Helps a short stroke generate some power.
3-8.
Liu Shiwen edging toward the finish line. One thing Young Haeun said is her greatest strength is that she never gives up.
9-3.
And there's no question about that out here, but Liu Shiwen still just making the job nearly impossible right now for Young Haeun. That last ball jumped inches above the racket. Rare to see a player miss a ball by that much. Not in a counter rally anyway. Now we have 7 match points for Liu Shiwen to move on to the final in fashion. The bending backhand goes long, and Liu Shiwen will thrill the crowd, and they'll be excited to get tickets and make sure they're sitting here in the packed stadium to see Liu Shiwen later today play the women's singles final. Young Haeun with an outstanding tournament, but once again has failed to take a game of the Liu Shiwen. Enjoy the highlights. We'll be back with another singles match, but it's going to be the men's side. It'll be Ma Long versus Jang Ji-ke. Good luck hearing anything over the screams, but enjoy the show because Ma Long and Jang Ji-ke coming up in just a bit. You're watching the China Open 2016.